Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 24th of October for the Sun or the Ascendant. This is a crackerjack week. There's so much going on. I'm really excited to share it with you. What I'm going to do is give you the overall strands which influence us all collectively, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you each of the 12 zodiac signs in much greater detail, from Aries through to Pisces. So as we start this week, Saturn has ended its retrograde, but it remains in a very attritional right angle with Uranus. So I need to explore that for each of the signs. We also have the Sun and Venus have moved together into the sign of Scorpio. Now, the Sun in Scorpio is very much about transformations. It's where we're most invested or devoted. But Venus technically is not at its best in the sign of Scorpio. But of course, it did have that magical connection with the Sun last Saturday, where they were exactly side by side. So the potential to continue a dialogue around a relationship matter is there, but I think what we get now is much more into the deeper analysis, the real politic of what some relationships are about, and perhaps the real politic about our longer term financial situation too. Now, of course, we have the partial solar eclipse on Tuesday, which on the face of it does give us some opportunities. But it works in tandem with the total lunar eclipse of the 8th of November, which is truly astonishingly tough. So I think we are about to see a massive reset globally when it comes to energy consumption, the price of things, the cost of fuel and foodstuffs have all been going up. But I don't think we've seen the end of how this restructuring is going to play out. However, on Friday, Jupiter, the planet of growth, retreats in its retrograde back into one of the two signs that it governs, the sign of Pisces, where its rulership is a much more spiritual dimension. It's going to continue the retrograde until November the 23rd, but it will stay in Pisces through to the 20th of December and return to Aries. So there may be something of a deep and contemplative strand that we really need to consider quite carefully through this change. Now on Sunday, Mars slams on the brakes, goes into a retrograde through to the 12th of January. But it's going to stay in the sign of Gemini through to the 25th of March. But for the whole of October, the whole of November, it is within 3 degrees in a square with Neptune. And that's creating quite a lot of distortion. So that's something else I need to explore for each of the 12 signs for you. So please stay with me. You can see an enormous amount of celestial action. If you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you personally, if you give me 3 pieces of your birth data, of time, date and place, I can give you your forecast for next year, but if you order it in 22, you'll get the rest of this year 3. But in my special package, you can also get your life roadmap, your character analysis, which can help you to understand some of the repetitive patterns in your existence, but also how you can perhaps change some of the more challenging ones, but also work with the more encouraging energy in a much more productive way. And there's 30% off. Please see the link below. So Aries, your week commencing the 24th of October forecast continues to see your ruler Mars compromised by the distorted and potentially draining energy of Neptune. If you have found conversations generally a little bit underwhelming, or you've become much more conscious of the people in your everyday world, even if it's not anything they're articulating, perhaps it's just their essence which seems to suck and draw vitality from you. The key here is to try to maintain some kind of protective barrier to support you. Now, of course, with Jupiter moving out of your sign this week into your 12th house, it wouldn't be a complete surprise if you did hunker down a little bit over the next few weeks, particularly with the Sun and Venus moving into your 8th house. But it could also point towards some kind of developing connection with someone where the spiritual or psychological or even sexual attraction between you is so strong that you find it incredibly compelling. Now, it's not a guarantee that you're necessarily going to end up having a completely beautiful relationship because of this, but it could be that something's being stirred this week which really you do find incredibly intriguing. But when it comes to your professional situation, unfortunately, I feel you may be dealing with a line manager or perhaps someone who works for you who tends to have a rather difficult attitude. If it's a boss, it may be a might is right approach. If it's someone that you need to work with, perhaps they seem to unnecessarily add politics to the mix. And with your ruler going retrograde on Saturday, there is the need for you to conserve your vitality. So if there are certain discussions that you're having and you need to have them, then try to be brief and concise and to the point, but practice the discussion before you have the meeting. If you do this kind of rehearsal, I feel it will help you to conserve your energy. And of course, with Saturn continuing in your sector of friendship and your future direction, clashing with Uranus, I think you're becoming much more conscious of the politics of certain involvements. So in some ways, this is a potentially tricky week. But I also feel that the planets are giving you the tools to dive a little deeper within yourself. The resources, your own internal resources, can come strongly to the fore now. And also your appreciation maybe of some of the things you do have in your life can actually be enhanced. So I think Venus being in Scorpio, although it is detrimented, for you it can have some upsides. Certainly about the appreciation of some of the things you have in your life. But of course, if money is really tight, much more difficult to think like that. So conservation of energy, resources, but also appreciation of the good parts of your situation is a good way to be taking on this week for you.